Okay, last time we were chatting about strings. Now I want to talk a little bit more about this second type, numbers. And we're going to do a lot of our work with numbers. So, and last time I had you guys do a tip calculator based on input. And what you found was, and let's go ahead and do this now. So let's go ahead and go through the process that you probably went through already, but essentially like enter bill amount, and we'll call this variable bill amount. And then we're also going to say let tip percent equal tip and equal, sorry, prompt. Enter tip percent as a number. Right. And then you probably tried to do some math, right? So total, let's total bill equal bill amount plus bill amount times tip percent divided by 100. And then you probably wanted to log that number, right? Something along these lines. Many of you did. Okay, let's save this. Come over here, run it. Bill amount's $100. Tip percentage is 20. And I end up with this really weird string, 120. Huh. Okay. That's sort of right, but not really. And here's why. So what is happening here is JavaScript is dealing with both of these as strings, and as we just learned, it's doing some string concatenation here. It's just taking 100 and combining it with 2 or with 20 and squishing them together, and we end up with this weird number. So we need to cast these variables as numbers. We need to do some type conversion. And we can do that by actually using, these are called constructors. And the constructor uses information and then constructs the thing we want out of that information. This is the number constructor. We're going to take this string and make a number out of it. So JavaScript has built in a number constructor that allows us to pass it a string, and it then knows how to convert it to a number most of the time. I'll show you what happens when we type in something that can't be converted to a number. So let's go ahead and refresh this page. We'll type 100, we'll type 20, and we get 120. Perfect. And by the way, notice the color change, because now we're no longer logging a string, we're logging a number, and that's going to usually come out in a different color. But what happens when we enter something that isn't a number? We get not a number, right? And why is that happening? Well, let's console.log bill amount, and let's console.log tip percent. Okay, let's refresh. Let's type in some nonsense, and we get 3 not a numbers. So if we look up, let's go ahead and look up number constructor JavaScript. MDN is a great place to look at this stuff, right? So here's the MDN web docs. Number constructor. The number constructor creates number objects when called as a function. That's what we're doing here. It returns primitive values of type number. Note, number can be called with or without new, but with different effects. Don't worry about that. Let's come down to, okay, return value. What is a return value? Without getting too complex, basically what you need to understand about a return value is anytime we call these functions or constructors, and we'll talk more about what they are, it sends something back. Number in this case sends back a number. When number is called as a function, it coerces the parameter, meaning the string that we're entering here, to a number primitive. Big Ints are converted to numbers. Don't worry about that. If the value can't be converted, it returns NaN or not a number. You'll also see here, warning, you should rarely find yourself using number as a constructor. Okay, so there are better ways of doing this. For our purposes right now, this is fine. But I wanted you to see in the documentation, you can see what's happening when we're typing in things that aren't numbers. It says if the value can't be converted, it returns not a number. So that's what's happening when we're typing in all that gobbledygook. We're getting this not a number returned each time. We could actually run this again, type gobbledygook in for the first one, type 20 in for the second one, and you'll see this last one is still gobbledygook because it's not a number because we're trying to combine 20 with not a number, right? So that's not going to work. Okay, so that's number type. Now I want to introduce you also to bool type quickly. So let's do... No, actually, we're going to hold off on bool type for now because that's going to require us to do some comparisons. Okay, so that is number type. That is, we now know string type. So I want you to combine the two skills you just learned. Here is the bill program, the tip percentage program. So what I want you to do is write... write the tip calc script, but have the information log inside of full sentences to make the results clear to the user. So for example, this should actually come back and say enter bill amount, enter tip amount, and then come back and say your bill amount is, your desired tip percentage is, thus the total bill is. All in sentences, all using string concatenation or string interpolation, all using our number constructor to convert our numbers. All right, great job. Raise your hand, obviously, if you have any questions.